go. All right, I got some people on. Okay, so say hi to all the remote kids. All right, so first question of the 2018 test. And the 2018 test, you guys all know that sometimes you get different tests, correct? Like you might have a test and you have a whole different test. So there are 3 different released tests for 2018. So we're going to be doing all 3 of those before you take the test. So question 7, highlight it. What is that? Oh, that's my thing. Okay, never mind. Let me do that. So which tone? I can't highlight. Why can't I highlight?
Did you do the thing?
Box highlighter?
You have to.
Oh, forget it. I just won't do that. Never mind. All right, so which tone does the author establish through his word choices in paragraph 1? Who had A, celebratory, B, cynical, C, dramatic, D, solemn? All right, we have a few choices here. Again, what I like about this is that it does give you the rationale and exactly why you missed it. So we're going to pay attention to those things. So for this one, it is C. Words like majestic medieval temple, tucked in the forest, and hidden city are used to evoke drama about a place that was, until recently, undiscovered. I saw a few hands for D, and that says, the passage describes a temple, a place that tends to be formal and dignified, but the focus of the paragraph is not on the use of the temple. Rather, it focuses on the setting of the temple and its surroundings. Okay, so if you had a different answer, make sure you read the rationale. It's important to know why you missed it so that the next time that kind of question comes up, you have more chance to get it. Okay, again, I'm like the coach. You're taking the, you're playing the game. All right, next question says loading, so yay. Question 8, okay? Now, again, we highlight like places that we find things. How does paragraph 5, highlight that, contribute to the development of key concepts introduced in paragraphs 1 through 4? Okay, development of key concepts. Paragraphs 1 through 4 and paragraph 5. So what we're doing in this kind of question, it's basically saying there are some things that are mentioned in 1 through 4. How does paragraph 5 move on with that same concept? So what key concepts, things that are mentioned in paragraph 5 that develop things that are talked about in paragraphs 1 through 4? So who had A? Paragraph 5 suggests a new approach to locating whatever that word is. Lots of A's, okay. B, paragraph 5 indicates that the scientists had doubts about locating, how do you say that word? Mahendraparvata. Only time I'm going to say that. C, paragraph 5 identifies why locating was impossible for the scientists. Or D, paragraph 5 highlights the history. All right, so most of you had which one? A? Okay. It is correct. So if you got it wrong, please read your rationale. So paragraph 4 does describe people who discovered the temple ruins, but not the city itself. Or that's paragraph 4. And paragraph 5 suggests that looking for the city on foot would be nearly impossible, so the team adapted. So if you missed that one, make sure you read your rationale. Scrolling to the next one. And this just shows you all the different, never mind. Number 9. So read the sentence from paragraph 9. Where are we finding it? Paragraph 9. So highlight that. Finally, the stumbled upon dozens of crumbled temples and evidence of road and canals, all organized into city blocks. How does this sentence develop an idea presented earlier in the text? So earlier in the text, we must have heard something about the crumbled temples and things. So how does this sentence develop that? A, it reveals that the city was formed after Angkor. B, it confirms that scientists' aerial map was accurate. Okay, we got some B's. C, it identifies the temple that hikers had previously found. Got a C, okay. It suggests D, that there might be other nearby hidden cities. We got some D's, okay. So the answer was B. So in paragraph 7, the scientists described the aerial map looking as they had hoped based on old text. Actually seeing the canals and roads confirms the map, which confirms the old text. So if you missed that, make sure you read your rationale. I'll pause for a second. All right, moving on to question 10. Question 10 is a two-parter. Again, if you have a two-parter like this, you have to get A in order to get B. You cannot get B if A was wrong. They just assume that you picked the right one by accident, okay? So A, if you're going to spend any more time on one than the other, it's going to be A, because you can get partial credit if you get A, but you can get nothing if you don't get A, okay? So which sentence identifies a central idea, a main idea from the text? A, built in the 12th century, Angkor Wat was in continual use after the capital city was abandoned in paragraph 3. B, as scientists analyzed the map, they noticed the area with networks of roads and canals built into the mountain in paragraph 7. Okay, we have some B's. C, the archaeologists started their expedition north under the heat of the sizzling sun in paragraph 8. D, after all, this jungle is very good at keeping secrets, paragraph 10. Okay, it looks like most of you had B. So let's look at that first before we decide. You have to have two ways that the author develops the central idea. So two of these would be the choice for supporting A. So the answer was D. Did you guys have it? Okay, that's what I thought. The answer was D. Students should choose this option because it identifies the jungle as able to hide, that word, and it wasn't until scientists enlisted technology that they were able to locate the hidden city. Which one did you guys have, B? Students may choose this option because it describes how the scientists were ultimately able to map out where this hidden city was, but it does not convey how difficult it was to locate the city. These ones are sometimes tricky, but do not lose a bunch of time on something that you're unsure of. Make a guess, move on with your life, flag it, and then if you get a chance to check over your answers, and most of you will, go back and revisit it. But always, always answer it. The test is the directions tell you not to. I say answer it. You have given yourself a chance at least, okay? Flag it for review. So with that being said, these are the options that would support that. The third option was the scientists used the incredibly advanced technology to locate the hidden city, and they had to do it from above. The scientists had to think of a way to find out the jungle secrets by coming up with an innovative way to explore the land. And then the last one, the terrain is suggested as one likely reason the city is hidden. Okay, again, if you did not get A, you would not get points for B.
I always get B, but I never get A.
Yeah, I suck
I
at
don't
the
know
two.
why.
You always get B, but you never get A.
I got one part of it.
Well, I will say this. Sometimes they put some that are very tricky, very close. But again, a 2-point question is not going to crush you. If you get to the end and you have 20 minutes to write an essay, that's going to crush you. Okay? So that's why I say window shot first. Look to see what you're going to be writing about and what you're going to be answering questions about. Then move on with your life. If you're sitting there going, oh, I don't know, think of what I would do. Okay. I need to get you guys bracelets, the WWJD. You know what that is? What would Jesus do? But what would Jen do? I guess that's a little sacrilegious. So I would just move on with my life. I would answer it, flag it, move on. Do not spend a bunch of time. Deontay, I'm going to take that if you don't put it away. Okay? Don't waste time on 1 or 2 points. It's not going to kill you. But if you waste time by not getting to your essay in time, that's going to hurt you. That's 10 points of your score. Okay? Moving on.
Wrong.
Yeah, well, these are all possible scores. So it tells you, oh, this is what you would get if you got this, and this is what you would get. So it's just silly. We're just moving on to question 11. What does the phrase stumbled upon in paragraph 9 emphasize? So this is vocabulary, essentially. So you have to find stumbled upon in paragraph 9 and tell what it emphasizes. A, how unprepared the scientists were. B, how hidden from view the ruins were. C, how poorly the ruins had been maintained. D, how the ruins were found in an unexpected location. Looks like most of you have D. And, oh, it is B. The phrase stumbled upon is meant to emphasize how hidden the ruins of the city were from view and how difficult they were to find in the jungle. If you said D, while stumbled upon could imply that something was unexpected, the content of the passage shows how carefully the scientists researched and plotted out the location of the city and found it where they expected to. That help? Okay. All right. Moving on to question 12. This is a part A and a part B. Let's see how you do on this one. So again, part A must be correct in order for you to get any points for part B. Based on the information in It's a Jungle Out There section, what can be inferred about the scientist? What's an inference? Inferred? What?
Something that's not directly said in the text, but that's implied.
Okay. So it's not said directly, but you sort of can read between the lines. Okay. Yes. It's based on what you know, based on what you read. It's like in there. Okay. So let's look at part A. You had to have 2 of the sentences highlighted from part B to get this section for the part B. So part A, let's look at that. A, the scientists will discover more relics in the jungle. B, the scientists will share their technology with other researchers. C, the scientists will learn new information about the temple in the jungle. We've got some C's. D, the scientists will use mapping technology to discover structures in other countries. Okay, let's look at that and see. It is A. Doesn't this infuriate you? 2-part questions do suck, but just, again, concentrate on A. Use that cross out straight through key too, okay? So let's look. A says the passage provides enough information to imply that there may be more hidden artifacts in the jungle and that scientists possess an effective tool for locating those artifacts. Which one did you guys say? C? It's incorrect because the end of the passage suggests scientists will be doing more research in order to discover more about the hidden city. However, it is not at Angkor where the research is being done. So that's the big mistake there. That's the trick answer. It's all because of the location. Okay. So with that being said, these are the options for part B. You would highlight, and there's more to find, blah, 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 or in the coming years. You got B right? You know why? That is a trick question. You have to pay attention because they're going to put those trick questions on the A and B thing. You have to pay attention. I remember this from the Edison one too. they like to throw in a wrong, like a right, but a wrong location or a wrong something. You know what I mean? So just be very careful about what the answer is saying, because like I said, there's going to be a trick one like that. Again, do not waste more than 2 minutes trying to figure that out. If you're still sitting there after 10 minutes, for the love of God, make a decision and move on, okay? I mean, 1 point versus 10, concentrate on that essay. That's where you're going to get your points. And I have taught you how to get those points on the essay. You just have to do it. All right. And this is all the different rationales for question 12. So we're going to scroll down till we get to the next one. Question 13. Okay. This is only 1 point. I hate this kind of stuff because you have to choose 3. And if you don't get all 3, you miss this point. But again, we're not going to waste our time. We're going to make an educated decision and move on. Okay. So I'm going to call these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So who had 1? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so everyone selected at least, everyone in here has selected at least all of these. So this is central idea, 3 key ideas that should be included in the summary of a passage. If they're asking for what would you use for the summary of a passage, remember you need to have more broad things that happened. It's more about the main idea of that passage. So it was 2, 3, and 6. How many got that right?
I did.
Woohoo. All right, so let's look at the rationale. So I'm going to go through all of these since everybody had all of them. We had a hand up for everything. So we'll go through the right answers first. So B is correct, or 2 is correct, because this statement is very straightforward and introduces the fact that the city may exist in the unexplored jungle area near Angkor Wat. 3 is correct because this detail is very important because it explains how the scientists knew where to look for structure that would indicate the existence of a city. And the 6th one is correct because this informs the reader that Angkor Wat eluded explorers and scientists for a long time and was discovered after sustained and organized effort. So 1 is incorrect because the how do you say that? Khmer Empire had its heyday between the 800s and the 1400s CE, but the detail is not important for a summary of this passage. Okay, details don't belong in a summary. It's more vague overview. Keep that in mind. 4 is incorrect. This detail provides information about the difficulty of reaching the actual location. However, the main idea relates more to discovering the hidden city rather than how difficult it was to find it. And 5 is incorrect because this is a statistical fact about Angkor Wat. However, the passage's main idea relates more to the hidden city than it does to Angkor Wat. Okay, moving on. These are all the sample responses to 13. So we're moving on to questions 14 through 22. Now the 3 golden apples and from weight were the ones that you already evaluated the essay from. So you had already read these passages when we got to it. So question 14.
Is this in like a full test or?
No, they do not release full tests. They only release part. I don't know if it's because they reuse them or what. I don't know. I will say that as like from talking to kids, I don't get to see the test, but I know that there are times that I'm like, I swear that was on another test. You know what I mean? Because the kids will tell me something that they had to write about, and I'm like, huh. So they only release part of the test. This is part of the test. So you'll notice, like we started with question 7. They didn't give you 1 through 6. I have no idea what 1 through 6 were. So that's why the questions are all jumbled like that, because they don't release all of it. Okay. So passage 1 is where we look. And it's the sentence from passage 1 here. What is the meaning of the word fancy as it is used in the paragraph? Now, fancy is not a hard word, but we need to look at the context of that. So, A, ability. B, desire. C, experience. D, fear. Okay, we had a few different answers. This one is B. To have a fancy for something is to desire to do it. Okay, look at your rationale. If you missed that one, see why you missed that. Like you might have a fancy for some chocolate. Okay, that can be. It's not just oh you fancy. It's it also means like I have a fancy for it. Okay, I want it. I'm craving it. Question 15. Read this excerpt in passage 1. It's in paragraph 6. And you have to tell what this excerpt reveals about that character Atlas. A, he is encouraged by Hercules' strength. B, he dismissed Hercules' attempts at trickery. Okay, we have some B's. C, he resents the fact that he has held up the sky for so long. D, he thinks Hercules is more deserving of punishment. This one is C. It reveals that Atlas resents the burden that he has been assigned to him and that he has had to endure for so long. If you said B, Atlas possibly dismisses Hercules' attempts at trickery because he believes he has won in the end. However, the dialogue suggests that Atlas resents the burden that he has to carry. That's a very tricky one there, but it is C. If you had a different one, please read your rationale. There's a statue near Columbus, right between Buckeye Lake and the Pickerington exit, I think, or it might be right after the Pickerington exit, of Atlas holding up the world. Have you ever seen it? You can see it from the interstate on the right-hand side as you're getting into Columbus. Question 16. In passage 1, paragraph 9, the thick-witted old rogue of a giant. What is the meaning of the thick-witted as it is used in this sentence? Again, this is just a vocabulary thing, determining the meaning from the context. A, difficult to deceive. B, slow to understand. Yes, A's and B's. C, admirable and kind. We got a C. D, young and inexperienced. So we had A, B's, and C's here. It is B. Thick-witted refers to the fact that Atlas is slow to understand the fact that Hercules is tricking him into holding the sky up again. If you said A, while this phrase makes sense within the sentence structure, the context of the phrase suggests that it was easy for Hercules to deceive Atlas. And if you said C, while Atlas does a kind and admirable thing by helping Hercules so that he can get comfortable, the context of this sentence indicates that he is slow to understand what is happening, not that he is kind. Question 17. Which sentence from passage 1 shows why Atlas offers to take the apples to the king? So this is just recalling information, textual evidence supporting that. And you got to look in paragraph or passage 1. A, I took the finest that grew on the tree, I assure you. B, you are certainly a very strong man. You can never have a better opportunity to prove it. C, that's no more fair and I'll do it. No more than fair and I'll do it. D, I have no idea of spending another 1,000 years as I spent the last. Looks like a lot of people have D. It is D. Atlas' statement that he has no intention of spending another 1,000 years holding up the sky reveals that he offers to take the apples to the king to avoid switching places with Hercules. Read your rationale if you missed that. Is there another question? Or is that, okay, so 18. Okay, I just didn't know where we were. All right, here's another A and B. Let's see how you do. Remember, you have to have A. This is theme. What is a theme in passage 1? It's only passage 1. What is a theme? And of course, you would then support it with one sentence in part B. A, opportunities can be missed if one avoids a challenge. B, pursuing selfish interests can cause other hardships. C, teamwork makes it easier to overcome difficulties. We got some B's and C's. Being helpful to others can be its own reward. Now, wasn't the essay about theme?
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to pay attention right now. This is a teaching point. This is a memorable moment. Use the questions. It just told you one of the themes. If you can relate it to the other one, you have a theme. Okay? So let's look. Is B. By serving his own interest, Atlas burdens Hercules with carrying the sky on his shoulders. If you said C, and I did see some C's, Atlas and Hercules each prefer the other to suffer the consequence individually. They do not work together to overcome difficulties. So, with that being said, how many got A right this time? Okay, that's good. The A part, it's B. I'm talking the A part. So the backup was C. This sentence demonstrates the burden that has been placed on Hercules, the proposal to carry the sky for 1,000 years. It also reveals Atlas's selfishness as he recognizes and is dismissive of the burden he has placed on Hercules.
I got it right.
Woo-hoo.
Finally.
Now that's a 2-pointer. And here's all the different responses. Scrolling down. Question 19, read the sentence from passage 2, so we know we're looking at from weight. Since you ask, I'd like a pad for my head, take the weight off. How does this dialogue is the words, okay, what's said in conversation, lead to Atlas's decision to take the universe from Hercules? You had A, Atlas feels ashamed of tricking Hercules and agrees to take back the weight. B, Atlas relates to Hercules' hardship and wants him to help him relieve his suffering. Lots of B's. C, Atlas finds Hercules is willing to hold up the sky and decides to exchange duties. D, Atlas realizes he is responsible for Hercules' suffering and yields to his punishment. So it looks like B, and that is correct. When Hercules requests a pad for comfort, Atlas relates to Hercules' hardship and wants to help relieve his suffering. Is that the last one?
No, there's 2 more.
2 more, geez. Okay. How does the author's use of this phrase, so as to not spill 1 drop of milk, affect the story? This is in passage 2. Slowly, so as not to spill 1 drop of milk, Atlas lowered Cosmo's back onto his shoulders and bent himself under the burden. A, it reveals Atlas's defiance. B, it exaggerates Atlas's timid nature. C, it illustrates Atlas's devotion to the universe. Got some C's. Or D, it shows Atlas's misunderstanding of the situation. It is C. Atlas takes great care not to endanger the universe through hasty or careless actions.
Another 2 pointers.
This is the last one.
This is the last one of this one because the other one was the essay, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so this question has 2 parts. You must get part A in order to get part B. So, how has Atlas's character in passage 2 been transformed from the way it is portrayed in passage 1? So, you're looking at how Atlas's character in passage 2 kind of grew from passage 1. A, in passage 2, Atlas has never lost whatever respect he had for Hercules in passage 1. We had some A's. B, in passage 2, Atlas has a stronger sense of duty and a responsibility. We've got some B's. C, in passage 2, Atlas is stronger and more physically impressive. D, in passage 2, Atlas has been sporting the universe for a longer time than in passage 1. Okay, again, you have to have A in order to get B, and it is B. Who got it? Lots of B's. Okay, good. We're going to read the rationale, make sure we know why. So, paragraph 30 demonstrates Atlas's sense of duty and responsibility to the world by showing that he does not dash it dash it to pieces to relieve himself of the burden, but gently takes the burden of carrying the world back on his shoulders. Which other one did we say? Who had A? Okay. This is incorrect. It suggests it doesn't. It is not suggested in either passage that Atlas respects Hercules at the outset of the tale. Heracles and Hercules is the same person. It's just Roman versus Greek. And then the support would be D. This sentence indicates that Atlas has greater forbearance than Hercules and a sense of responsibility and duty to protect the world. And then question 22 is your essay, which we already reviewed, correct? All right.